Yeah, welcome also from my side, and I want to really thank everybody of you for contributing to this great book. What can I say as a single person to a crowdsourced book, and how can I summarize that? It's almost impossible because you are the experts. But let me try to give you a little bit of insight, and it's really a brief summary. So we thought it might make sense to give a short overview on what the chapters are all about, and so that everybody has an idea of what is inside. So many of you know that idea of Schumpeter, the famous economist, who said that technology creates new market and changes existing market structures. And this goes hand in hand with customer pull, because if clients do not adopt that, a change in market structure which is induced by technology doesn't make sense. So why is that so? You all know that famous example of Henry Ford, who could have asked persons out on the street what they wanted, and they maybe had wanted faster horses. So in this case, maybe you would have expected faster client advisors, maybe something else. So this doesn't make sense. So it has to go hand in hand, and this is the reason why the whole wealth tech, the technology, is the enabler for the new business. So that might change the industry structure, although what we can see at the moment, the robo-advisors, for example, and all the other fintech startups are very tiny. They're only a small step on a long journey, and you could experience that in almost every industry in the past. But one enabler also, except technology, is also the regulation part. And I think we can see that across the globe, that regulation now changes. We have sandboxes and things like that. So governments are trying to push that a little bit more. So I think we will see a much greater eruption here in the next years to come. And I think this whole development has only been started. So this is what we got from you now. So when we received these first abstracts and also then the full papers, we really thought, so how can we structure that? And of course you have something like an introduction and you have something like an outlook, but in between you need to give some structure and some guidance. And we started from front to back with the client, because that must be in the center of that whole development. So what is the future client, and what does he really need, and what does he want? And we saw a lot of good contributions to that from the network client, from new employees, for example, where robots now join the company as new clients and also as new employees. So starting the journey really from the client's perspective, and then going all the way through from operations to platforms to the blockchain applications, and also having a look at what the founders really are and what they do and what it really means to transfer it from the startup world into the incumbents world. And this is the enterprise innovation part. And finally, we also wanted to look on a global perspective on what this development really means. So what is happening around the world? And I want to give you some little more key takeaways of what we really saw in each of these chapters. So here in the introductional part, we could see that technology enables really the way for novel things. Not really the old stuff that we saw with electronic banking and things like that. So there is really AI, there is blockchain, and there are many new technologies. And the new thing about that is that these technologies now converge, and they enable entirely new ways of how we do business. And there are the millennials and the robots that become the new colleagues also in the companies. So it's not only the clients that are the millennials, but these millennials become also part of the economy within the companies. And this is also a new development, and we haven't talked about that yet. And then there is this whole topic of client advisory. So with robo-advisors that we saw at the first-hand stage, but now we see third-generation robo-advisors emerging. And we heard about that with specialized robo-advisors for niche applications, but also for personalization and gamification. These are all new elements that come on top of that. And there is this omnichannel as a new mantra that all and everybody preaches. So this is a new thing. Well, this is not really a new thing because we saw that with multi-channel management many, many years ago. But what is new that the technology is now able to deliver this omnichannel experience to everybody. And I think this is really the new thing, that you are able to flexibly customize any kind of products, prices in real time to anyone. And the foundation of that is that digital architecture is now able to deliver this. So there are new applications evolving, and there are new architectures evolving that weren't existent in the former days that now really enable this. And there are, of course, these digital platforms. So in the past, we saw very heterogeneous, very encapsulated platforms. Now they become open. They open up APIs. We have PSD2. We have other things that come now up. And I think this is a development that we didn't see in the past that much. So with opening up all these platforms, you can now create new ecosystems of incumbents, of new startups, enabling entirely new things. And I think the next wave to come is really to have these cross-industry ecosystems, which is not in place yet, working together with retail companies, with pharmaceutical companies. So linking all of these worlds on a digital way is not happening yet and will be the next wave to come there. Yeah, and then we have these blockchain applications. Everybody's talking about that last year already, but also this year. And I think beside the cryptocurrencies, there is much effort on standardizing things, because without standardization, we can't build the applications on top of that. So this is really basic work. And from that on, we can see new applications. And we had some contributions there on fund management, on outsourced asset management, and things like that. So there are new things evolving that weren't possible before without blockchain. Finally, founder success stories. So we had many contributions in that field, because many of you are founders, of course. So we had the robo-advisors, we had digital brokerage, micro-investing also, and investing tools. And we had this discussion of cooperation versus challenger banks. So all of them were part of the WealthTECH book, because all of them are important. And especially here in the UK, we also could see that the challenger banks are producing real competition here. And I think this will be an important area also for the future. And we got some few contributions for the area of enterprise innovation. There weren't much, because I think many of the banks still experience how they could do it. And well, there were more taxonomies in that field. So what types of innovation, how can partnerships be designed, and how should they be designed? What are the strategies that you need to pursue, and all these stuff. Because everybody is following a different way, and everybody is experienced how to do it. And there is still some work to go there, how to partner with these companies. The global overview was especially important and interesting to see from China, from Latin, Japan, and Turkey as the emerging WealthTECH areas. And I think it will be interesting to see. We heard about China also this afternoon. And we have some representatives from there too. So I think this is a very important area. But also, of course, Japan, as we heard, is something where I think still 50% hold their assets in cash. So there is a lot of work to do there too. And finally, the future of WealthTECH, of course, is a very interesting field too, which is the chapter 9 then. And there were some really interesting contributions there on the networked client on the one hand side. So how is he or she working in the future with all digital things linked? But also on emerging technologies like AI 3.0, for example. So what does that mean? What is really the next wave in technology that is ahead of us? And also the strategies that you can follow then. There was, for example, new interaction models, wealth management, canvases and things like that. So how can you really go forward with these new technologies and use new client behavior models? So this is it, more or less, in a nutshell, very briefly. And yeah, you can read all that in the books here, and you are the experts. And thank you again for contributing to this great book. You all did a very great job. And I would like to thank you again for your chapters here. Thank you.